In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to color this beautiful, fluffy, three-dimensional bee with these. In a previous video, I showed you guys how to color the translucent wings, adding a little bit of that silver on top. And they turned out lovely. Today we're going to work on the body of the bee. Always make sure you use a page protector or a barrier sheet in behind your work. I'm going to begin using light flicking motions, following the direction of the bee, the body, and I'm going over all of the lines. I'm going to use that same kind of flicking motion just because it does create a tiny bit of a layered look, uneven, kind of light in some areas and darker in others. And that's kind of the fun, is to leave some parts a little darker than the others and a little lighter. That has turned out pretty nice. What I'm going to do before I start the legs is I am going to go over a second time with that same color just to add a little bit of a shadow. Now this isn't going to be all the shading that I'm doing, although you could just use the alcohol markers and layer some of that color to create that shadow. I'm just going to use my marker here for a tiny bit of this. It gives it more of a rounded three-dimensional look. And I don't want there to be like a straight line, so I am using that flicking motion up and then down. And here as well. I'm just going to pat some color in along some of these edges. Don't want it to be too dark because I am going to be adding that colored pencil. I'm going to swatch out the colored pencil just to make sure that it's a color that's going to work, and that looks like it's going to be pretty nice. So this is a Colora colored pencil. This one's dark yellow. And what I will do is I'm going to write out that number for the Ohuhu marker that I'm using for the alcohol marker. So these will be the two colors that I'm using, and a light yellow as well, just to bring in some highlights. Actually, that's not going to show up very well, so I might use the white. That'll be better. So you can see the difference between where I put down the yellow and where the white is. The white will really bring out the highlights, and that dark yellow will accentuate the shadows. lighten that again. Going in with the white now. I'm going to start at the top. As you get to the outside of the bee's body, you want it to curve in the direction of this side. I'm just going to add this highlight all the way down. And on this side, I want this side to be a tiny bit darker, so I'm going to add that shadow on the opposite side. I'm going to do the legs next with the same color, and I'm just going to pat that color in with the alcohol marker without making it too opaque. I do want it to have a little bit of texture. You could, of course, just color this straight, but I do want it to have a tiny bit of texture in there. So I'm just dotting that on, just really patting that brush tip right into the image here on the page. And repeat. This is a different color. This is YR1. I grabbed the wrong one. So this is Y1 that I used for the bee. I'm using YR1 for the legs. And although it's a happy accident, I will be probably lightening it up a little bit, especially on these little pollen packs. If you want to call them pollen packs, I'm not sure what they're called, but where they hold their pollen. So I will lighten that up. As I go under the wing here that we've colored, I'm going to pat a tiny bit of that color, not as solid as the other parts. Right under that wing, I'm just going to make it look like that leg is underneath that wing. Take the bright yellow colored pencil. I am using for the yellow the Amazon Basics Lemon Yellow, and I'm going to add in some highlights at the top of each of these little legs. Let's try a brown kind of in the shadowed areas here. I'm going to use burnt ochre, which is again an Amazon Basics colored pencil. I want to make sure this one's nice and sharp because I'm going to be adding in little hairs. You'll see here I've kind of gone outside the lines a little bit. I've blotted a little bit of that ink outside of the fuzzy lines. So I am going to go over with the colored pencil and add in individual hairs. Before I finish and start the eyes, I'm going to go in with the black colored pencil and add in some extra shadows and extra strands of hair. And the black really is an opposition to the white and just gives it a little bit more definition when you're adding in your hairs, making it look a lot more fuzzy. And I'll continue that black around the eye there. When you layer the colors like this, it really makes the image look realistic. It is a grayscale book, so it already kind of does look realistic, but layering the alcohol markers and the colored pencils really makes a difference. I'm just going to add a little bit more shading to this side of the bee, and I'm going really lightly, almost making it look gray. And then this side has the white already there, making it look like the light's coming from this direction. Let's give this a blend. I'm going to be using my Staedtler, oops, I'm going to be using my Staedtler blending stump. I have a set of, I think, 6 or 7, and they were just available at Walmart. I'm just blending the colored pencil, and I'm just going to use short strokes. And it just softens up some of those lines a bit. If you don't have a blending stump, you can use a Q-tip or a cotton ball or a cotton makeup pad and just blend it in. Some people use their fingers, so that's really just a personal preference. Now let's go in and color the eyes, and we're almost done, you guys. While that dries, I am going to do the antenna with a gel pen. This is a Jelly Roll from the Midnight collection. I'm going to take the white and highlight the eyes a tiny bit along the tops where there would be a shine. So you're almost following the opposite to the shadows that are on the page. And then I'm going to go back in with my black and just darken some of this area here. When you go over it with a lighter colored pencil, it does lighten it up a little bit. So this just creates a little bit more contrast. I usually wait till I am finished the entire page to add in some of the highlighting with the Jelly Roll gel pen, but I want to kind of wrap up this tutorial by showing you how I would add highlights just to the body of the bee. I'm going to go in some of the areas here just with a little bit of this white gel pen. That's good. And maybe even some light flicks. Gel pens don't always deposit a lot of ink, so what I like to do is once you've done kind of applying some of that ink, I smudge it out with my finger. And that way it still gives you that light effect, but not very harsh. And rubbing it out with your finger does give it a softer appearance. Why don't I add little dots along here? There we go, my friends. We have completed the bee on this beautiful page. I think she turned out really pretty. I like how this side is got an extra highlight here to make her look like she's fuzzy but shiny. That turned out really nice. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can follow along with this series where I'm going to actually show you in the next one how to color these beautiful flowers. And then the next one after that will be the background, how we will create a nice bouquet background. Links to everything that I'm using will be listed in the description below as well. And please let me know in the comments if this has helped you in any way, or if you have any ideas or suggestions that you would like me to do tutorials on in the future. We'll see you next time.